Welcome to this explainer. I was recently digging through chapter 12 of Stephan Kreuk's The Living Signature of God, and wow, I stumbled across a truly transformative concept. We're going to explore the hidden dynamics of our everyday relationships and figure out exactly why some interactions leave us feeling completely and utterly depleted. If you've ever felt like you're giving absolutely everything and getting, well, nothing back, you are for sure going to relate to this.
Okay, let's dive into this. Are you living in someone else's apple? I mean, do you ever walk away from a conversation feeling entirely drained? Almost as if your energy has just been siphoned right out of you by a completely one-sided relationship? This is a feeling so many of us struggle with, but we rarely know how to name it, let alone how to actually stop it.
Stephan Kreuk frames this problem with a brilliant and honestly a pretty confronting metaphor. To a worm in an apple, the whole world is an apple. Just think about that for a second. The worm knows literally nothing outside of its immediate surroundings. It simply consumes the apple. It's wild how accurately this metaphor describes self-centered people. In human terms, this totally unmasks the incredibly limited, exhausting view of the ego. They often only see their own world, their own interests, their own problems. And if you aren't careful, you become nothing more than their food source.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the word Kreuk uses to define this dynamic. He calls it a parasite. A parasite in relationships is someone who just drains your positive energy. You share, you listen, you invest, and they just take. They are filled up for a few days while you're left completely empty and exhausted. The tricky part is that our own minds sometimes trick us into accepting this. A deceptive old voice whispers that, well, we just need to be more patient or show a bit more understanding, trapping us in a cycle that slowly erodes our self-worth.
Section 1. The Mirror. Eva's exhausting friendship.
To really understand how this works in our daily lives, let's look at a super relatable case study from the book about Eva and her friend Anna. It's a glaring imbalance, right? Eva is your classic giver. She listens patiently, gives solid advice, offers a shoulder to cry on, always hoping for a little reciprocity. Anna, however, she starts literally every conversation with her own drama. If Eva tries to share something about her own life, Anna's reaction is just an abrupt shift right back to herself. Eva's basically acting as the nutrient base for Anna's apple. There is absolutely zero reciprocity.
And what's the inevitable outcome of this dynamic? Deep emotional exhaustion and a faded smile. Eva realizes that the positive energy she had before the conversation has been completely drained away. This one-sided dynamic doesn't just make her tired, it literally robs her of her inner peace. It prevents her from bearing her own fruit because her energetic soil has become completely nutrient poor.
Section 2. The theological shift, the call to charity and true community.
And this brilliantly illustrates the way out of this trap. Kreuk points out that God didn't create us for parasitic dynamics. Look at Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4. This right here is the ultimate biblical commandment of true neighborly love and selfless charity. It tells us to actively look out for the interests of others. It's a profound shift away from that cramped worm-in-the-apple mentality, moving us toward a solid foundation of genuine reciprocal care.
You see, God's original design for community is entirely based on reciprocity. True community completely shatters that egocentric bubble and recognizes the value of every single soul. Energy is meant to flow in two directions. Galatians 6, verse 2 tells us to bear one another's burdens. It's a shared responsibility, guys, not a one-way street. And Proverbs 27:17 reminds us that iron sharpens iron. A healthy relationship should sharpen you, make you better, and help you grow. It's the exact opposite of the draining parasitic ego of the worm.
Section 3. Actionable boundaries, protecting your God-given energy.
So how do we actually protect our God-given energy in practice? We have to confront that deceitful old voice in our heads. You know the one. The old voice makes you feel guilty, demanding endless patience, and trapping you as a convenient food source. But the new voice, which is rooted in truth, empowers you to firmly guard your boundaries, recognize parasitic behavior when it happens, and actively seek out genuinely nourishing connections.
And it's actually amazing to discover that there is hard science backing this up. Setting boundaries literally rewires your brain. Practicing this new voice activates assertiveness centers right in your prefrontal cortex. You're actively breaking deeply rooted neurological patterns of seeking approval or constantly avoiding conflict. And wonderfully, by establishing these boundaries, you actually reduce your amygdala's stress response. You are stopping the energetic drain on a biological level. How cool is that?
Let's move to and see how this builds into actionable steps for daily life. Kreuk breaks this down into 4 parts. Step 1. Recognize the worm. Notice when a conversation lacks any follow-up questions about you.
Step 2, do an energy check. After hanging out with someone, just ask yourself, do I feel filled or drained right now? Step 3, practice boundaries. You can gently but firmly say something like, I'm so happy for you, but I'd actually love to share something too. And finally, step 4, actively seek enriching contacts. Invest your precious, God-given time in mutual growth.
Section 4, the breakthrough, your active training program. Now listen closely, because just passively listening to this explainer isn't enough to change ingrained habits. Kreuk's book is designed as an active training program to guarantee your personal breakthrough. He really emphasizes the absolute necessity of the notes pages in his book. You have to physically write down your personal thoughts and your concrete next steps. This active training anchors these truths into your memory and connects you to your inner engineer, which is the part of you that actively rebuilds your boundaries so you don't relapse into old habits.
And this leads us to the ultimate exercise, the never again declaration. This is your solemn covenant to yourself and to God. Here's exactly how you do it. Step 1. Select 5 essential words from your own reflections that define your personal breakthrough regarding one-sided relationships. Step 2. Formulate those 5 words into one powerful, unwavering, never-again oath. This is your definitive line in the sand. This is where you declare you are done living in someone else's apple.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Who is the worm in your apple? And what will your never-again oath be? It is time to step out of that limited ego view and rediscover the incredible richness of true community, where energy flows in both directions. Find your freedom. Discover your calling. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and seriously, I highly encourage you to take a moment right now, grab a pen, and write down your declaration.